God damn. I mean, listen, I'm as straight as you can be, but my God, when you watch Baywatch, when he's in Baywatch,
oh my God,
Lord, it's like I just wanna touch him.
I just want to.
Just want to see what it feels.
What's
and he has
like?
he's not super clean shaven. He's a little hairy as well, ooh, which accentuates the muscles. It's like natural shading. He's like, whoa.
His skin is so thin also that you can like see the muscles.
Yeah, he's very vascular because he has no body fat. Imagine just putting your ear to his chest and like hear him breathe. Oh. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the spoilerCast. It's a show we talk about movies, and we spoil them. We spoil details because it's the spoilerCast.
Yes.
My name is Tobias, and with me, as always, is my sister and trusted co-host, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello. And in today's episode, we are talking about the 2022 adaptation of Stephen King's Firestarter.
Yes.
Let's just get into it so we can be done with this.
Well, we can start off by saying this is a known story. So, I mean, spoilers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Well...
Because, the book's been out for almost, 40 years.
Something, yeah. I think so.
I think so, yeah. 82. I think it's 82.
I think so.
Because the first movie came out in 84. They adapted it straight up. Yes. But, I mean, if we're going to talk about how the movie ends, or details about the movie, we're going to spoil some stuff, because this was not a very faithful adaptation.
No, that's kind of what I meant by that. Like, the story, the base story is known, obviously. It's, like you said, it's been around for a while. And we will have to compare it a little bit.
Listen, because we have both read the book.
Yes. Literally finished it the same day as we saw this movie.
But we haven't. I was gonna not say that, so it sounded like we read it like 100 years ago. I'm a fan.
No, anyway. It's kind of funny. But I mean, you read it before, didn't you?
No, I hadn't read. I read a bunch of Stephen King books. I like Stephen King.
Yeah.
But I hadn't read this one. But I thought, hey, since we're watching the movie, I'm gonna read the book because I have it.
Yes.
But none of us have seen the 84 movie with Drew Barrymore, right?
Well, I haven't seen it, so no.
Yeah, me neither, yeah. But we're gonna do that next week on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene if you want to hear us compare both movies with the book.
Yes.
Check it out, it's just $3 a month.
But this one will be...
patreon.com/don'tmakeascene.
Yes. This one will be
to work it in.
a comparison towards the book a little bit, but also like just talking about the movie, obviously.
Yeah, we're first and foremost just gonna review the movie since it's a movie podcast. But since we did read the book, both of us, we're gonna compare and contrast.
Yes.
But the main plot is man and child, father and daughter, is on the run from a secret government agency because they both possess supernatural powers.
Yes.
That's it. There are more details in the book, but not in the movie.
No, not really.
Not really. It's starring Zac Efron. Which I guess was going to be their big
pull,
their big draw, yeah. But I gotta say, before this came out, I didn't even see a trailer. I just saw that there was gonna be a Firestarter movie. I saw the poster on our cinema where you book the tickets.
Yeah. Svensk film.
Yeah. SF.
Oh yeah.
Or Filmstaden.
Yeah.
Either way. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think I stumbled upon a trailer somewhere on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
At one point. I was like, oh, cool. Zac Efron has started doing, more adult things.
Yeah. Too bad it chose this.
Yeah.
Because let's get into it. What did you think of the movie?
Oh, it was boring as hell. And, I mean, nothing happened. The acting was not that great, even though we have a couple of people that should have been okay, at least.
a couple. I didn't recognize anyone except for Zac Efron. Yeah, and one scene with I forget the guy's name. The bad guy one of the bad guys from Terminator. Red from that 70s show.
Yeah, Kurtwood Smith.
Yes.
I mean,
he was in one scene.
John Beasley and Gloria Rubin as well. But I think I've seen them in,
I
TV
recognize the old
guy,
guy, but I didn't know of him, but I recognize him from other things, yeah.
Yeah.
But I agree. The acting overall was terrible. Zac Efron,
I have a feeling it doesn't have to do solely with the actors. I think this is a lot of directorial issues.
Yeah, well, I can really only speak for Zac Efron because he's really the only one I've seen in several other movies. And I don't know if this is a mean thing to say or not, but I don't think he's good enough to be bad in a movie.
No.
You know what I mean? He's just, hey, I'm Zac Efron. I'm an quote-unquote actor. Oh, are you? Are you sure?
He's good at like one or two different kinds of roles.
Yeah.
He's always kind of that, cool, confident, douchey guy.
And he was kind of that here as well, but not...
But trying to be a father at the same time.
Yeah, and it just... I don't know. He was bland and boring.
Yeah.
But there were some straight-up bad performances.
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Like the captain. One
of
the main characters in the book who's barely in the movie.
Gloria Rubin.
Yeah, Gloria was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And the guy who played Irv, terrible.
Yeah.
And the guy who played Rainbird,
horrible.
Terrible. Not terrible, but boring and bland.
I almost hated him most.
And with a character, here I'm going to start comparing with the book, who is so, like, menacing and, like, you can, like, just the danger just oozes off the page when you read about him. And here he's just like, oh, I'm gonna capture you.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because we have to slight comparison to the book here. In the book, every character is a character. They have personalities. They have reasons for everything.
Yes.
Here we have names.
Yes.
That's about it. They have a name. They could have just as well been bad guy number 1.
Yeah.
There was no personality to any of them. The only 2 people in this... Well, 3 people, I suppose, in this movie that had somewhat of a personality is the McGee family.
Yeah, and none of them were particularly interesting.
No, and the mother dies within... Well, I mean, that's the premise in every story of Firestarter. She dies in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also like, sure... most books are all about like building characters. That's why this you couldn't do like an unabridged adaptation. Usually of a book you can't, and like this book, I don't know. There's different editions and everything, but it's around 400 pages.
Yeah.
So like that would be a super long movie. That's always what you got to struggle with when you're adapting a book. But to not use any of the character building that's from the book to build your characters in the movie and to just straight up change some things for the worse. I don't understand. At one point towards the end of this movie, I was wondering, like, why did they even say it's based on Stephen King's book? Why are they calling this Firestarter? This could have been like a
random sci-fi movie, to be honest.
Yeah, do you remember that that movie that took like 18 years to come out because it came, not 18, but a few years. That was supposed to be like an X-Men horror movie. New Mutants, wasn't it called New Mutants?
Oh yeah,
with the girl from Game of Thrones and the brother from Stranger Things,
and Anya Taylor-Joy playing the Russian.
Right. And it was supposed to come out in like 2018, and then it just unceremoniously was farted out on like streaming sites in like 2021 or something.
Yeah.
And everybody hated it, even though when it first came out, the buzz was like, ooh, this is interesting. An X-Men horror movie.
Yeah.
It felt more like that. This was just, random mutant people being chased by the evil government. Like, and they could have just called it like, I don't know, The Different Ones or whatever. This is not an adaptation of Stephen King's Firestarter.
No. The only similarities are some of the names, and even that, like, some of the names. Not all of them, which is weird. And, the fact that there's a girl child who can start fires with her mind.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't even really know what to say, because we watched this with our mother for once. Shout out to patron, executive producer, whatever.
Yeah. Mom. We invited our executive producer / mom, because she was alone this weekend. Our dad was away with his friends, so we were like, we'll take her along on a movie, because she hasn't been to the cinema in like a year and a half.
Yeah, and I mean, Firestarter, like we said, it's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good book.
It's a good book. It's a good story.
Maybe it won't be an amazing movie, but it'll be entertaining,
Exactly. And like by the end of it, we're all just like, what the heck did we just watch?
Yeah.
What is this?
I literally said, "I'm sorry, Mom."
Yeah.
And then we dragged you along when you could have been home, like
watching something good,
watching something better, just reading a book, you're doing whatever, anything but watching this. Yeah.
Because even not considering the book, this movie was
just thinking of it as a movie, as the story being told in the movie. Yeah, it was boring. Nothing happens. We
had no character building. We had they were going from place A to place B, basically, but
well, they were going from place A to somewhere.
They ended up at place B. But that wasn't the goal in the beginning, which was also weird. They didn't seem to have a plan.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like they just took moments that they wanted to shoot, and then tried to piece it together to make it a coherent story in a movie.
Yeah, and then add their own stuff in between. Well, barely. Yeah, because like in the book, there are the big moments in the book where you think like, oh, if they're making a movie, at least these things are going to be in the movie. You have, honestly, like up until they go to Irv and Norma's farm, there's not really that many big moments.
Wait, are you talking in the book or in the movie?
In the book.
All right, yeah.
You might have some flashbacks to when the chase started, because the book starts like almost a year into the chase.
Yes.
And you could do something there, like set up that they've been on the run or something. But then you have Irv and Norma's farm and the attack on the farm. Then you have, in the book at least, you have Grandpa's house.
Yes.
Where they live for a long time and where they also get captured.
Yeah.
And then you have
the compound.
Yeah, you have the compound where they stay for a very long time, but that's where you really build the relationship between Rainbird and Charlie.
That's like where the story is, basically.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Even though it's
almost
the latest,
half the book is there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the last like third or something.
Yeah. Ish. Most of the book is there.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's where
the
place they spend the most time at. Yeah. And the other big moments in the book, a lot of it taking place in like the captain's office.
Yes.
And of course, in a flashback, when they actually get Compound 6 injected.
Yes.
In the test. Those are the big moments. And you have Irv's farm, but his wife is not called Norma for some reason. She's called Essie.
Yeah, and she's in the...
It doesn't matter, but then I'm wondering, like, why even change the name? It's just a name. Just call her Norma.
It's a weird choice to just change the name and change the character that much, because in the movie they put her in some sort of coma.
Yeah, and they're supposed to
iron
be this,
lung or whatever, like...
Yeah, no, she's in she's in a vegetative state because she was in a car accident. Which Irv lies about, that he says, oh, she was out driving and someone clipped her in a crossing. But then it turns out, no, it was actually Irv. They were all in the car and they were arguing and he didn't see the car and they got hit and she got in a vegetative state and their son died. Like a son who is not in the book.
Very unnecessary details.
I don't know why they added that. Yeah,
it didn't add anything.
The way the book ends, I thought that was gonna just to reinforce that they might want to like take care of her.
Yeah, but they didn't use.
But they didn't do that ending. They changed the ending. Well, we'll get to that. So you kind of have that moment, but you don't really have the big attack that happens there, which is supposed to be the first time she really uses her powers.
Where
here she uses her powers in a big way immediately. Like 5 minutes into the movie, she's like blowing up a school bathroom. Which is like, oh, I thought you were going to like save the reveal that she is dangerous to later in the movie. You have that tease that Zac Efron is dreaming of her setting fire to things, but that might just be a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, tease it out and then show like, oh, fuck, this is why they're chasing her, like in the book.
Yes.
But no, you don't have that. She just blows stuff up. They go over there, and she blows up a door. That's about it. Instead of, setting fire to all the agents and blowing up the cars and exploding chickens. Like, that would have been awesome to see.
Because they tease it as well. They add the chickens.
Yeah, they had the chickens there. And he even says in which wasn't even subtitles since we're watching this in Sweden, there's subtitles. But he says, don't burn the chickens now.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't subtitle that. It was like a throwaway line that they didn't
catch it or something.
Yeah, which I don't understand. I thought as a subtitler or whatever, you watch the movie over and over to make sure you don't miss words, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never worked like that professionally, but I have subtitled things. So. It was
a weird thing. Like, why?
But they do set fire to a cat, which seems harsher, and turn into this like dragged out scene where the cat is being tortured to death.
That
almost.
Was horrible.
Yeah, and they're starting to introduce like Zac Efron, Andy, the father, training her and using her power. They even have a montage later when she decides to save her dad, which never happens in the book either.
Where she tries to learn to control things by, I don't know, hanging out in the woods and starting like a forest fire.
Yeah, seems very dangerous. And then they don't even have Grandpa's house.
No, which I can sort of understand.
But there are some good moments there.
Yeah.
And the big thing, like how they're going to like solve this whole thing. That's where he writes the letters.
Yeah,
the letters that he's going to send to the magazines.
That part isn't even in this movie.
Yeah. So they just quickly cut to the compound, but instead of having them both there and having all this building of character and building up both to know Charlie and the dad, Andy. Yeah. No, they capture Andy, Zac Efron, and Charlie, the kid, runs away and then goes to save him. Because
he is calling her with an additional mental power that they just threw in there to make things easier, I suppose.
Yeah. And they give Rainbird powers as well. Which he does not. I mean, I was a little confused about his character in the book. His motivations are weird.
Oh yes, his motivations are very weird, and he is the most scary person in that book for one reason only. That he has this weird love towards Charlie.
I was a little worried because Stephen King has written some weirdo pervo shit before, and there are some moments in this book where you're just like.
He has some sort
of... Is Rainbird a pedophile? Is he going to actually...
I don't think he cares about the age. He's in love with her specifically. He doesn't care that she's a child.
Yeah, I know. And even when they like point that out, what do you mean you love her? He's like, it's not like that. But then you're also like...
But it is.
Are you sure? Sometimes it feels like it is like that.
Lovingly in her eyes and you want to kill her.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's like... gonna have pleasure in strangling her.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the Martyrs ending. Like he wants to see something. Yeah, he wants like there's something in the eyes when a person dies.
Exactly. Which this is not in the movie at all.
No, this is not in the movie at all. Instead he becomes like he like sees that she has like powers, like super strong powers. So he almost becomes like he almost worship her.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's just talk about the end. In the end, in the book, he basically like becomes like a major like he can't like be a shareholder because it's not a stock market company, but he becomes like a bigwig in the in the agency. He like buys his way in with the money he has made from working for them or something.
Also,
like that.
No, I mean he also blackmails them basically.
Yeah, he blackmails because he gets a bunch of information from Kurtwood Smith's character in this, which they never meet in the movie.
No.
No.
And also, he is like the contingency plan. He is either gonna make her do what they want, or he's the one who's gonna kill her. if she goes too far away from the plan.
You know what he is? He's kind of like Darth Maul.
Yeah.
When they introduce him in The Phantom Menace, and the Nemoidian says, "We should have never made this bargain." That's basically what he is in the book. In the movie, however, the skipper and the agents are like, fuck, we shouldn't have brought him in. He's too dangerous. Yeah. Now we're stuck with him. Yeah.
In the movie, however, he is a original test subject.
Yeah, from an earlier, I guess. In the book it's called Compound 6.
Lab rats.
Yeah, which. Okay, so he has some supernatural powers as well.
He has parts of the psi as well.
Yeah,
as they call it in the book.
Oh yeah, I read it in Swedish. So they call it the push.
Yeah, but they call it PSI powers.
Okay, right.
Because they're psychological.
Yeah. Sure. So in the book, all he wants to do is like make her reach her full potential. Which some of the doctors in the book say, like, that might be too dangerous. I mean, Wanless, one of the doctors, the Kurtwood Smith character in the movie, in one scene.
He does have his little speech, though, sort of.
Sure, yeah, but they left out the good part, because he literally says, like, what if she has the power to crack the earth in two?
Like they don't know China plate.
Yeah, which is like, that speech is so fucking good in the book.
Oh, yeah. You should read it in English. It's probably even better.
She might be starting little fires now, but what if she learns to control it? She can start bigger fires or even explosions. What if she can, like, we don't even know how powerful she is. What if she could, like, start a nuclear explosion with the snap of her fingers?
Yeah. I think he's even
What if she cracks the earth in half?
He's even like, it doesn't matter if she can control it, but what if her powers just grow?
Yeah.
And eventually she'll just do it without
doing it.
Like planning.
Which is also a big thing in the which they kind of did in the movie. A big thing that she becomes more comfortable with using the power.
They did mention it, but they mentioned it
too
early.
Even like starts liking it, which they just they have that one thing to I like it in the movie.
Yeah, they kind of throw that in as like whatever. She likes it. It's comfortable. She anyway, makes her all toasty inside.
Yeah, back to the ending. So John masquerades as a janitor at the compound. So try to like become friends with her. So he can make her do the tests and start like realizing her full potential because she doesn't want to cooperate.
She's
with the other doctors.
refusing it because she can't see her dad.
Yeah. And so they do this, and when finally her dad and her, or she, is about to escape, he of course goes to stop them because now this is his only chance. He wants to look into her eyes as she dies.
Yeah.
And there's this great scene where he shoots Andy, the dad, and then he's gonna shoot her. He's like, fuck it. And then she literally melts him.
Yes.
The heat is so strong that he doesn't burn. He just melts. Literally melts the flesh off the bones. Which was like, whoa, I want to see this in the movie. Oh, fuck. Because none of that happens. Instead, she kind of does that scene against the guys with the fireproof suits.
Yes.
Towards the end, or literally the end. But then he shows up, shoots them, and then kind of kneels in front of her to like show his loyalty.
Or accepting that she could kill him.
Yeah. And then she walks outside, the compound is exploding, and then she falls down on the beach, because the place is at a beach for some reason.
All of a sudden.
I don't know why they made a big thing of it being on the coast.
For some reason.
Yeah, because it's not that in the movie.
No, it's in the middle of the country, not even near, like, any water.
Yeah.
It's in, like, the flatlands.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a couple of hours inland from Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why they changed that. I don't know. Maybe there's like because there's a water theme sort of in the book, but it's not really in the movie.
She does talk about pushing it into the water to not have the fire spread, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's not like she's doing it here. It's not like she's sitting down at the water trying to like force the fires to go in there instead. No. She's lighting fires all over the place and then just gives up.
So maybe they planned to have more of an aquatic theme, but they didn't do anything with it. But anyway, he shows up. While she's sitting there, he puts out his hand, and she grabs it. He picks her up, and then they walk away, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Instead of the big climactic battle between Charlie and Rainbird. Andy dies. She melts his bones.
The horses.
Burns the barn where they're in.
Insane.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Andy starting to get his powers back and using his push to make people go insane and they kill themselves. And
you know what?
There's so much cool shit in the book.
I've complained in previous episodes that I'm sick of the whole 70s theme in all the movies nowadays.
Yeah.
This movie would have benefited from being told in the 70s setting that it's written. Because it's written in, like, it's supposed to take time in the 60s, 70s, right? If I remember correctly.
No, it's supposed to take place in 82.
The book?
Yeah.
Isn't it, like, 79?
No. They take
something happens in 79.
They do the test in 69.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
And then they have, I think Charlie is born in like 76.
Maybe that's the one. Either way, this movie would have benefited from being more of a timepiece in that sense than being set in 2013 or whatever.
No, 2013 is when they take the compound
right.
in this movie. Or when they first escape.
It's so weird.
Yeah. But here's the big thing why I think they cut a lot of the scenes from the book in the movie. This was probably a super cheap movie. It looks cheap.
Yeah, it looks cheap as hell.
So
the one thing they put money on is the fire at points.
Yeah, which looks good.
The fucking lenses they put in their eyes to block mental
powers
manipulation.
Yeah, it'll work on some of the cases, but not on her, since she can physically burn them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That part really bugged me.
Yeah, but that was because they wanted to give her other powers as well. We'll get to that. But what I think is, they didn't have any budget, so they couldn't do the scenes where, the movie opens as they're literally like running away from agents in the middle of New York, and then they go to an airport, and you have scenes when they do the flashback. Andy's working as a high school professor or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Bunch of scenes where you would need to have a bunch of extras, and filming in New York, or even like somewhere that looks like New York in a city, cost money.
Sure.
They couldn't do all that because they didn't have any money. So instead they just changed everything. Yeah, made everything worse. But at that point I'm like, why even adapt the book then?
Exactly.
Why not make your own story?
You know what they could have done? Without having to have a bunch of people. The whole running around and trying to get away from the shop, or DSI as it's called in the movie.
Yeah, they don't call it the shop, which is like...
Another
I know, it's a weird choice. Just they don't really explain why it's called the shop, but,
they could have had, like, the whole running away part.
They could have called it the agency, wasn't it?
They could have had the whole running away part just be, like, the intro, and then have all the story take place at the compound. At whatever it was called. The two state houses, and the underground laboratories, and the far, what's it called? The barn with horses.
Yeah, and the chapel, yeah. Yes,
Why didn't they just do that? You didn't have to have a lot of people then. Because, I mean, there are like 8 people in total that are named in that scene, in that setting, except for by the end where we have everyone leaving.
Yeah, like the first 20-30 minutes is the chase, and then the rest of it is all that happens in the compound. Yeah.
That's what I thought this would be.
You could almost like skip, even though Irv is an important character in the book, Irv and Norma, he's not important in the movie, so skip that also. And just have, have them running, you don't know why.
Have it start at Grandpa's house, or Granther, as it was in the English book.
Granther. Yeah, they mentioned Granther in this as well.
Have that be the starting point, and then have like flashbacks, or they're talking about the whole running away kind of thing.
Yeah, because a lot of the story is told in like, because it's a book, so you can have a bunch of exposition.
Yeah, obviously.
It's told in flashbacks and like explaining which you don't want to do that in a movie. I understand that, and they do show the whole taking the drug or whatever as a nightmare. It's a good way to do exposition, but.
They could have had some of that
dumps anyway later, so...
Yeah. No, but they could have had some of the exposition dumps in the beginning be nightmares and just talking a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Small things.
I really thought it was gonna start at like the first motel where when he almost dies because he pushes the taxi driver from the airport.
Yeah,
that felt like a good place to start the movie.
That also bothered me because that would have been the one person to put in instead of Irv. You could have cut the entire Irv and farm thing. Just have the taxi driver,
the cab driver,
and make him be the one who thinks he's seeing a. First of all, it's a $500 bill in the book. Why make it a $100 bill? That's just dumb.
I don't know. Yeah,
that's a detail that you don't have to change. Why change it from a $1 bill from a $5 bill to a $1 bill and then make it a 100 instead of a 100?
Which makes even less sense because $500 in the early 80s is a lot of money.
Yeah,
$100 today, it's not really that much.
No.
So it would have made more sense to do it the other way.
Especially since he's trying to make him drive him far. Yeah. I mean, we don't really know where they start. I don't know what state they're in. In the book, I know, but in the movie, I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, Boston is on the East Coast, and the book mainly takes place, around Well, it starts in New York
and Washington.
Yeah, so then Boston isn't too far away, I suppose.
Even Boston isn't even mentioned in the book.
Yeah, it doesn't mention where they are. Yeah.
Weird, just weird. Yeah. Again, there's so many weird details that they could have just kept as in the book, but they decided to change it. The one detail that bothered me the most is the fact that they decided to change Andy's name.
Yes, he's called something Cooper, and Andy McGee, the real name in the book, is just a cover here.
Yeah. Which has no point in anything.
Other than saying, he's lived under many aliases. Oh, okay.
So?
But what does that add to the,
Nothing.
Nothing, yeah. Why add that in? Yeah, it's so weird.
I mean, they kept the whole, that she calls herself Roberta Bobby, and he calls himself Frank.
Yeah.
Because that's in the book, and, you don't know it.
That's because they don't want to be recognized, when they hear the news on the radio or whatever.
Yeah, or if there will be anything.
Yeah.
Then just... No, they gave him a completely different name and said that Andy McGee is an alias.
Yeah.
Why?
For no reason.
So pointless.
And then
No, go on.
yeah, I was going to say. And then nothing happens. There's none of the interesting character building stuff in the compound happens, like we said, and they changed the ending. And I was thinking about this, and I don't know if I did mention it. You know why I think I don't know how to say this.
Thoughts?
Do you know why I think they did what they did? My thoughts are why they changed so much. And why they did the ending where Rainbird lives and he's
You mentioned that this feels like they're setting up a sequel.
Yes, cause it feels very dumb, especially this, cause it's not based on a big franchise or anything. But I'm getting a feeling they want to set up sequels. They want to start their own little franchise where cause it's they even call her a superhero at one point. Yeah. The captain does. And I was
also something that is not mentioned in the book.
Not at all, yeah, because superheroes wasn't really a thing. I mean, it was, but it wasn't in the mainstream like it is now, yeah. And when she starts really using her powers to kill everyone in the compound, she has the red hood that the hoodie she puts the hood on to look cooler. There's even one where she looks into the heat camera and has that super cool profile look. I was like, are they setting up a superhero franchise, but a really dark and edgy one? So it's going to be like a lone wolf and cub situation where Rainbird and her just walks around doing cool shit.
But
and I'm just like,
I mentioned this to Mom while we were waiting for you. She knows that Rainbird killed her mother. She knows by now that Rainbird is the only reason that her father is dead.
Yeah.
Why the heck would she agree to go with him?
Yeah, there's no reason for it.
I honestly thought, and it would have saved the movie, that she would have walked into the water and drowned herself.
That would be super dark, though. But,
sure, but that would have saved the movie for me.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's so
it would have
weird.
made more sense.
The only redeeming thing, and it's not really a redeeming thing, but the only even slightly redeeming thing that Rainbird does, is that he shoots the agents in the fireproof suits to save her. But that's not enough. He killed her mother. He was involved in killing her father, even though she kind of did that.
He lured her to the compound.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who's mapping it out for her.
Yeah, if Irv was more of a character like he's in the book, he shot Irv twice. Like, why does she go with him in the end?
As far as we know, Irv dies.
Huh?
As far as we know in the movie, Irv dies from that shot.
Yeah, we don't see him get up afterwards. They just leave.
So,
and
there is no reason she would accept him as her savior or even
I don't understand. It feels like they want to make Rainbird into the, like, in the book, it's the dad and the daughter, Charlie and Andy and Charlie, that has the connection, because they're kin. That's why they have the connection.
They're blood relatives.
Here they kind of want to put that on Rainbird, because he's technically a cooler character, but he's not cool in the movie.
He's not as cool as the book character either. Where are the scars? Where's the missing eye? Where's the... I mean, they had sort of the shoe collection for some reason. Yeah,
which it was a weird detail in the book, but that's, books have a bunch of details to build out the character.
It was even weirder in the movie.
Yeah, because it just showed his shoe collection, which was just like 8 pairs of boots.
Yeah.
In the book, it's like the only thing he spends money on is expensive shoes, like imported Italian loafers.
And he doesn't wear them.
He doesn't even wear them. It's just like he doesn't care about anything other than finding out what happens when you die and shoes.
Yeah.
For some reason,
cool
he just likes shoes. Yeah.
Instead, they make him the one scene where we see his apartment for some reason.
Yeah.
They add this cool music, and we see
really edgy, I am so fucking dangerous.
It's like an old warehouse that's been converted into a loft.
Yeah, it's the classic like New York studio apartment where the door is one of those sliding things. It looks like a warehouse. Yeah,
and he has these dark drawings of his dark
he paints
figure,
really dark stuff, eyes and characters.
For a tiny second, they add that to Charlie as well, because she does one of those drawings.
You see, they're building a connection between the two, which they think they're going to keep
on it completely.
They want to keep building that in a sequel, but then again, there's the problem. Even if you're building a sequel or building a franchise, every movie must work in a vacuum.
Yes.
Because they're never going to make a sequel to this.
No.
So all we have now is an unfinished origin story.
The first one has to capture the audience.
Yes.
Otherwise, they don't want to come back to see these characters anymore. Because I do not care what happens to Charlie. This Charlie is a shell.
Yeah.
She is a pretty girl with soot on her face that screams.
Yeah. And again, an hour and 40 is not the same as 400 pages of building a character, but they don't even try, it feels like.
No.
They give mixed messages, like, they've taught her not to use her powers, but then, when she accidentally burns the cat when it scratches her, he tries to then, well, then you gotta finish it, and this is why we never use our powers, to hurt people.
That's why we need to try and control our powers so we don't lash out.
But then she goes around and she uses her power. She kills the Jules character, which also, that felt like almost like it was going to be like a fan service, like, woo moment when she mentions Agent Jules. Because it's the guy in the end of the book, who's never in the book until that last scene. They just give him a name because characters have names in books. He's not a character. I don't know why they like Agent Jules in the car.
No.
And then she tortures him to get information and get his key card with her powers. But then when she meets her dad, she's like, I didn't use my powers like you told me to. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You liar!
You started a forest fire, you killed a person.
Yeah, you literally had a training montage where you learned to use it. Like, what are you talking about? Why make that a thing in the movie?
There wasn't a reason for her to kill the agent, because she got the key card. If she just left the car when she got the key card, that would have made more sense. I thought that would be a redeeming moment for her, where she would go like, you know what? I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna walk out and you can go home to your pregnant wife.
Yeah, because they make that a thing also. Like, I have a wife. I have a child.
He just talked to her about, but the first trimester is almost over. The morning sickness will be gone soon. Why build empathy for a character that we don't know? Yeah,
and which is just gonna is to show that she's really evil now, so she'll kill the expectant father. Like, but she's not supposed to be. Like, it's so confusing. Like, are they building her up to be this like dark character? They really don't until that moment.
They do have one moment in the beginning.
I guess when she says, "I like it" and whatever, but
but the first scene almost when she sits at the kitchen table very early in the morning and just plays with a lighter.
Yeah,
it's like she's already starting to like it, I suppose.
Yeah,
but they don't explore it back then. They just throw that in and then leave it. And then snippets of weird incidents that are either, oh my god, I'm so terrified, or I like it. There's no consistency to it.
No, exactly. But talking about now though, it seems like they want to make it more of like a morally ambiguous character than what it is in the book.
Yes. They wanted to bank on the horror element that it should have been. I have to say though, the book was not scary. It wasn't
it's not really a horror book. It's more of a thriller, kind of.
Yes.
Or a
sci-fi, I suppose.
It's a non-genre. Yeah, more sci-fi, I guess, yeah.
But here they were like, we need to make this a horror film.
Yeah, because it's Stephen King, so I mean, it's horrors, but he doesn't just write horror,
No. And also, this isn't set up to be horror. This is set up to be a drama, more or less.
Yeah, or, going by the ending, action?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm conflicted, because... I'm not conflicted. I'm just confused.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
The word.
Confused. I don't know what the intentions were with the characters. I don't know why they felt they needed to make a new adaptation of Firestarter.
First of all.
Yeah, exactly. That's first.
Second of all, why they chose to change so many details into very similar things, but very
it's distinct enough that this could have just been its own story.
Yes,
you could have just changed
literally taking
the most minuscule of details, and it would have been its own story with just that it's just been taken inspiration from, which every screenwriter does. It's nothing. It's like he just ripped it off. No, you always take inspiration from things.
If they called the substance. Instead of Lot 6, they could have called it Flabadooba, I don't care, whatever, anything, and then just name the movie that. A completely different movie.
Yeah. And then it made sense that there are more characters in this movie that seems to have had the compound in them,
The psychological powers.
You weren't the first. Rainbird was also a subject before he became an agent, things like that. They even
hint and mention that the mother is supposedly the most powerful one of the three in the family.
And they also hint that, which is not in the book, that the people that were chosen for the test had previous experiences with paranormal activity or supernatural activity.
Also, they had to be orphans of some sort for some reason.
So
that was a point they made in the movie.
Yeah. And there's a lot of these little details which it's when
they don't add up to anything.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they're like, we're setting all this shit up so we have that in the sequel. But like,
that's not how you make a franchise, first of all. And definitely not how you make a movie.
It is how you make a franchise, sort of. You gotta set some things up.
But not all of it.
Not all of them, but if you're setting up little things, but there should be smaller things you can build on.
But some of the things you set up need to be mentioned and used in the first movie, though.
Yeah. I have ghosts in my studio. But then you also need to make sure that your first movie is good enough that it will be a success, so you can take the money from that movie and make a sequel. This was shit.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was so bland. It wasn't interesting in any way.
It's almost like they knew it partially also, because I mentioned this as we walked out. They banked hard on the fact that they had Zac Efron in the movie in the first 3 minutes by making sure he was shirtless and flexed.
Yeah. He was literally in the first 3 minutes. He is shirtless. Yeah.
And flexing all of it.
Oh yeah.
But
then they made a point of putting his shirt on, so that's it. Just a little tease.
Yeah, just tease. Just maybe you'll see more later. It's kind of like we're gonna keep you here on making you think that maybe you'll see more shirtless Zac Efron. They even almost hinted and teased like they're gonna have a sex scene or something. But no, then the baby caught on fire.
Yeah. Which I like that the movie starts with a baby being set on fire. Yes. I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be nice. Good. And then I was like, oh, no. In the next 5 minutes.
I mean, the beginning was kind of okay, actually. Up until...
Literally the first 5 minutes. And after that, it starts going downhill with the redhead kid. It's like, you're a freak. You're a moron. Loser.
I liked the things that happened in the home up until Rainbird. And everything that was not in the home could have just been skipped. Because I don't care that she feels like a freak in school. That's not the point.
No.
Again, a thing that would have made more sense if this took place in the 80s and not in the 2020s or whatever.
That's also not in the book. Because in the book, she hasn't started using her powers properly yet. So she hasn't had a bunch of incidents at school. She's a regular kid.
She's only accidentally set, yeah, she accidentally sets her mom on fire at one point. They do mention that in the book.
Yeah.
And I think that's when she's younger. And then the teddy bear that when she falls.
She's like 2 years old or something. Yeah. So it's an
accident. She doesn't know. She starts crying because she's hungry.
Yeah.
And that's when she accidentally sets her mother on fire.
And that's when they learn her teach her to suppress it.
Yes, because it's the bad thing.
Yeah, it's a whole big thing that then gradually Andy, the father, needs to start making her comfortable with, doing the bad thing.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about it, and it's a very important part in the book to me. The whole airport scene. Yeah,
because that's the first time he asks her to use her powers.
She says,
after they started escaping.
It's okay. You are allowed to use the bad thing on things.
Yeah.
As long as it's not humans. And that's the only time they mention that she has, other than the fire, she can do other things as well. Yeah,
they hint at it a little bit. She has other sort of things.
Yeah.
In the movie, they make a big thing out of that she has all the powers because she's born from this drug thing,
So she has her mother's power to push physically push things.
Yeah.
She has her father's mental pushes,
yeah.
sort of.
And then the fire stuff, yeah. Yeah. Do you know what
they butchered it?
Oh yeah, they completely ruined it. And the book is so, and that's the thing with Stephen King's writing, but especially in this, at least of the books I've read quite a few of them.
I've only read a couple though.
It's especially this one is very cinematic. Just
just
copy the scenes from the book, and you'll have a good movie.
I can understand that perhaps the first half of the book is a bit slow if you want to see it in a cinematic way.
Sure. So cut some of that out.
Some of the they're sleeping in the car another night. Yeah, we don't care about that. I know. Put them in the next place. Just skip that part. Get from the farm to Granther's place.
Yeah.
Or skip all of it completely. Just end up at Granther's place when they get caught.
Yeah. And also the scenes you actually do take from the book, don't change them. They're good the way they are. You made them worse.
And again, why change the smallest of details that have... Jesus Christ, my eye is annoying. That have no point being changed. There's no reason for changing small details. As the name. As fucking $1 bill to a $5 bill to a $1 bill. Why?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And you end up with a terrible movie with, the only redeeming feature being that they got John Carpenter to make the music.
Which also they did not utilize properly.
No, because, he has more and more in his later years, become more of a, he enjoys making music more than making movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically stopped making movies in the mid-2000s. He was tired of it. He didn't like it. Which you can tell, like, some of the last movies he made were terrible. And then he made one, comeback in 2011 and made, The Ward, or whatever it's called, starring, what's her name? Amber Heard, the husband beater. And that movie is terrible. And after that, he just stopped making movies. He produced some stuff, He always put his name on all the remakes they made of his movies just to make money. He literally has a quote from, an interview at some, sci-fi con or whatever. He says, all I do is just hold up my hand. Whenever they talk about making a remake of one of my movies, I just hold on my hand and a royalty check lands in it, and I'm fine. Because he was done with movies. This way, if you 10 years ago would have started touring with his sons, because they said John Carpenter, something Carpenter, and then there's one name and one more name. That's his adopted son. So he just makes music in his garage with his sons, and then he started touring with it. And then of course it got, and he was he had a niche audience, of course, since he's John Carpenter. But then he got a mainstream breakthrough when he did the soundtrack to the 2018 Halloween movie.
Oh, right.
Once again, the best part of that movie is the soundtrack, because it's John Carpenter music, but with more of a punch, because it's a little more modern. And then, of course, the same thing for the next Halloween Kills. But he was still connected to that, since he was involved in making the original Halloween.
Exactly.
He just did the music, I guess, because he's now connected to Blumhouse, because those were Blumhouse movies. So maybe they're like, why don't you make music for this one as well? You like making music. He was like, yeah, okay.
Also, maybe they were like, it's Firestarter. It's based on the Stephen King novel, and probably he likes that one. I don't
know. So the music is good, but it's it's
not utilized.
I think it's utilized well, but it's not as good as his Halloween scores.
Yeah,
it's still good, but it's just not as good.
I barely noticed it, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess I noticed it more because I saw that John Carpenter did it, so I'm a bit biased.
Yeah, I didn't see that until the credits started rolling.
Oh, okay.
I want to quickly mention the director, Keith Thomas.
Right, I'd never heard of him.
Me neither, and there's a very good reason for that. He has done, as a director, he has done one movie before, one short, and one music video.
What's the movie?
The Vigil.
Ooh!
In 2019.
Oh, the one about the Jewish guy?
Yes.
It's a Jew. Fuck! I saw they had that on, there's a Swedish, streaming site called SVT Play.
Oh, yeah.
They have that on there, and I remember because I saw, a trailer in 2019. That looks vaguely interesting. Fuck.
Yes,
maybe now I'll
skip
it.
To be... Thing is, that movie seems to be... I haven't seen it. I'm just looking at the pictures and reading the synopsis on IMDb.
Yeah.
It's a demon movie.
Yeah,
it's a haunting movie.
Yeah, and it's one of those rare movies that it's steeped in Jewish religion.
Yes.
Jewish horror. We rarely see that. You usually see Christian horror or some sort of pagan horror.
Yeah,
this is Jewish horror, which is interesting.
Literally, a man providing overnight watch to a deceased member of his former Orthodox Jewish community finds himself opposite a malevolent entity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
It's not interesting that the whole religious aspect is involved.
He wrote and directed that one.
Okay.
Then he did a short called Arcane. No idea what that is.
I don't know.
I Disappear When You're Near is a music video.
I don't know what this is.
And he is working on where he finished one episode of Cabinet of Curiosities.
Okay.
A TV show. That's post-production in 2022.
All right.
That's it. This man has no proper experience.
So there's another connection to making it like a superhero franchise. They pick a guy who made an interesting indie movie, The Vigil in this case. We're guessing it's interesting. We don't know, but
I mean, it has an interesting premise.
Yeah. And you should work on our new superhero franchise. He's like, oh my god, is it Marvel? No, it's Blumhouse, and we're giving you $1 million to make a And that adaptation of Firestarter, and he's like, all right.
What's that? There's a movie that came out about a year or two ago where a kid has these weird superpowers and his mother is afraid of him.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Brightburn or something like that. It was like, what if Clark Kent grew up to be a bad guy?
Yeah. Is that a Blumhouse? No, that's Netflix.
No, it's not Netflix. It might be. I didn't watch it because it didn't look interesting.
No, I haven't seen it either. It kind of felt
but
odd.
I know it's not Netflix, but it is. It might be Blumhouse. I don't know.
Because for some reason...
It does sound like a Blumhouse movie.
It reminded me... This movie, the Firestarter, for some reason I started thinking of that one.
Yeah, well, it's a bit similar. Like a child discovering, that they have superpowers and use them for bad things.
Yeah.
Let's see. Brightburn.
It's 2019, right?
2019,
right.
yeah. Let's see if we can find quickly.
I cannot see if it's...
No,
it's
a Sony movie. It's Screen Gems and Stage 6. They usually work with Sony, so it's not a Blumhouse movie.
Because I was like, wait, are they?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know.
And Sony released it internationally. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just got a horrible feeling that they had some sort of connection.
They're building their own scary superhero kid universe.
Yeah, like they're starting with the bad guys, which is, I guess, refreshing.
They're doing their own Sinister Six.
Yeah. I don't know.
That could be interesting, but no, there's no connection.
No, and also, like, if you want to do that, don't base it on existing works of fiction.
No, exactly. Yeah. Call it like Freak instead of Firestarter or whatever, whatever. It didn't have to be called Firestarter. And we talked about it. It's probably name recognition because you can put Stephen King on your poster. But like
based on Stephen King's masterpiece, Firestarter.
But seriously, like the kids don't give a shit about Stephen King.
No.
Like, you're basing it on a book from 82? Like, yeah, Grandpa might, like, I want to see this! But that's not who you're making the movie for, right? So just call it Edgy Teenager Fire Guy Girl, sorry.
Yeah. Also, like, they aged her a little bit. She's not an 8-year-old. She's a 7-year-old. She's 11 in this one.
Which I don't think that... Because the only age they mention is 8. And the movie only takes place over, like, a week.
Yeah.
So she's like 8, 9. Yeah, it says 11 when you read the synopsis. At least on our theater site.
Yeah.
But the only age that is mentioned is 8, I think. Or 9.
Is it because the kid who plays Charlie,
is
Ryan
11?
Kiera Armstrong, she is 11.
Yeah. Yeah, they messed
Maybe they messed that up.
I don't know.
And she looks like she could be 8. I don't care.
Yeah, she looks like a little kid,
Yeah.
She could be anything from 6 to 12. They look the same.
At least they did a good casting in that sense that age-wise, Zac Efron could be her father. He looks like he could be her father.
Because he's like, what, a year older than me or something? Or younger?
He's
in his 30s.
87.
87, yeah. So he's in his he's 35. Yes, perfect age. So he had his first kid when he was, in his late 20s. It made sense.
Yeah.
Perfect age.
Yeah. Perfect age. That's like the one thing they kind of got right.
Yeah, they didn't mess that up, thank God. But yeah,
and to be honest, I kind of wanted this to be like, even if it wasn't perfectly as the book, which I didn't expect that
because they never perfectly adapt the book. The only movies that come close, and they don't even get that close is The Lord of the Rings, at least the first and the third, I suppose. Yeah. And then I suppose the new Dune is pretty accurate, except for chopping off half of the book. But
exactly, making it a 6-hour movie would probably be pretty good. But we can't have a 6-hour movie anymore.
But other than that, adaptations are usually pretty loose adaptations, but this was extreme. At least in the case of books or movies based on books that I've read.
Yeah.
But I mean, sure,
I still had like, this could be a cool concept. It could be a cool movie.
The concept in the book is cool.
Yeah, even if you don't
concept,
follow it by the letter,
not the plot, but the concept, the theme, the story is interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
But no, they muffed it up.
I'm both kind of excited and hoping that the earlier version is more closely to the book.
Yeah.
But also I'm afraid it's gonna suck just as much.
Yes, because a lot of the early 80s adaptations of Stephen King books suck. Children of the Corn is fucking awful. It was so bad I couldn't finish it. I've tried watching it like twice in my life. One was pretty recently, and I was like, I'm turning this off.
Yeah.
And of course, well, The Shining is very good. Once again, not very accurate, but at least that one's good. You know.
Yeah.
They did changes to the book that are good,
and kept the details that they kept. The details that they kept them as is instead of changing them.
And then the changes they made were for the better.
Yes.
That book is weird.
I haven't finished it yet. I'm like a sixth in, and then I realized, oh shit, I need to read this one.
And then of course you have all the, you know, they have It. I haven't read It, but from what I hear from people who have read it, and then watch, I mean the old It, the TV show, the TV miniseries. It's because that miniseries, it's not great. Nope. The kid stuff is fun, but overall it's not a great show.
No.
So they fuck up a bunch of details in that as well. And then you have, that's more into the 90s though, but they have the Langoliers. Once again, I've not read that, so I don't know how accurate that is, but that TV show is fucked up. It's a fun concept, but it's so weird and dumb in movie format, so I don't know. Like, usually, and then of course you have Pet Sematary from 89, which, that's not a great movie.
No.
They do capture the book pretty well, though. They adapt it pretty well. Because I read that book.
Isn't there supposed to be a new Pet Sematary?
It came out like a year ago or two. With Jason Clarke in the lead, I think.
Yeah, 2019. I can't speak.
Yeah, I didn't even watch that.
I didn't ever watch that. No,
I never watched it. Because I read the book. I liked the book, and then I watched the movie many years ago. Actually, before I read the book, and it's like the movie is not good. It's passable at best.
It creeped me the fuck out though. The original movie.
Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy, definitely. And like I said, they do, the adaptation is much more faithful than this is. And they capture what's scary and sad. Because the book is super, like, it's so emotional, and it's dark, and it's sad, and it's full of sorrow and angst.
Yeah.
And they do capture that a little bit in the movie, more than the scary parts.
Yes.
But that's a super dark book. Like, all about children dying horrifically. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, that book. But anyway, I digress. This is just to sum it up, fucking awful movie. Might be the worst movie of 2022.
I think Mom even said this is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, which is like, that's rough. I've seen worse, rough, but
I understand.
I understand, and this is pretty damn bad. We've had some bad movies already this year. Well, we're almost halfway through now, but I mean, just last week we had one of the worst movies of the year, Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah.
But this was worse.
Oh yes,
because this didn't even have, distracting, awesome, cool magic powers, and Sam Raimi directing the fuck out of that movie. This was just boring and bad.
Yep.
Instead of cool and bad.
Yep. The only thing I liked about this movie, like I said, was the first few scenes, and most of that was because Zac Efron was shirtless.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's got nice abs.
Yeah. Oh, God damn. I mean, listen, I'm as straight as you can be, but my God, when you watch Baywatch, when he's in Baywatch,
oh my God,
Lord, it's like, I just want to touch him.
I just want
to see what it feels like. And he has he's not super clean shaven, he's a little hairy as well. Ooh, which accentuates the muscles. It's like natural shading. He's like, Whoa.
His skin is so thin also that you can like see the muscle.
Yeah, he's very vascular because he has no body fat. Imagine just putting your ear to his chest and like, hear him breathe. Oh. Yes.
You know what? I'd rather...
He's not good looking.
Yes, he's not good looking. He's not that good of an actor, not in this role at least.
No. So he didn't do anything for this trash fire.
I think I need to watch that one thing he did earlier where he's like his first thing trying to do like a proper grown-up thing.
Yeah, the delivery
extremely
boy.
wicked, shockingly evil and vile.
No, he did
Ted Bundy thing.
Earlier than that, like when he just started coming back after like his alcoholism stint, he did a movie called The Delivery Boy or Delivery Man or something. I think Matthew McConaughey in that movie. That was supposed to be like, ooh, he's treading into dark waters, kind of. I know that was the big thing. Like, ooh, teen crush Zac Efron does a dark, serious grown-up movie. Something postal boy, delivery boy.
The paper boy.
Huh?
The paper boy.
Paper boy, right.
Right.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but that's in 2012. He wasn't grown up yet.
No, but he was sober and he was done with Disney and, you know.
Sure, but then he did Bad Neighbors after that, so.
Yeah, but yeah, sure. Anyway.
This is like he did Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, and then he did The Beach Bum.
Yeah, he has a small role in The Beach Bum. Well, if you like Harmony Korine,
right, it's that one.
If you like Harmony Korine, it's a great movie. If you don't like Harmony Korine, you're gonna hate it. But you know.
But it feels like, and then he's like, this is also like dipping his toes into
dark
more
stuff, adult
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then he's doing The Greatest Beer Run Ever.
Yes.
And
that sounds good.
3 Men and a Baby. Isn't that a remake?
Yes, it is.
And also announced TV show Killing Zac Efron. Is it? I feel like that's also kind of a ripoff of someone else, like famous, doing like, oh, they're gonna. I don't know. I have memories of it, but I don't know.
The only thing I can think of is Killing Gunther.
Maybe.
Which is a bunch of assassins trying to kill the most famous assassin of all time, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's basically a bunch of comedians playing assassins. So it's a bunch of comedians trying to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's the movie. It's kind of funny, but it's literally killing Zac Efron. Yeah.
I don't know. He is like the one thing that could have been good in this movie.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have enough to work with, and he needs proper directorial, like...
Yes, because he can be good.
Input.
He can be good. Yeah. This was not it, though. I gotta say, for me, though, he was not the big pull. For me, at least when I found that out, was the music. And I did kind of like the music. That's the only reason I gave it a 1 star.
Oh, I haven't even rated it yet. Yeah. But I'm probably just gonna give it a half a star, because...
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it 0, because that feels like I haven't reviewed it.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like that for me,
but
too.
But this is more or less trash fire.
Yes, complete trash fire.
At least there's fire!
yeah. But yeah, don't watch this.
No.
This podcast is just like 30 minutes shorter than the movie, so this is basically like watching the movie. But shorter and sweeter and better.
Yeah, and you get more of the story from the book than...
Oh yeah, check out the book, it's pretty good. You can probably find it for like $1 in a bargain bin or, you know, in a thrift store.
It's a bit slow in the beginning to read, in my opinion. But towards the end, I mean, I finished the last half of the book in 2 days by sitting for 3 hours reading it nonstop at one point.
And then, of course, don't forget to check out this Monday, patreon.com/don'tmakeascene, because we're going to talk about the 1984 version, which hopefully, at least, it doesn't have to be more faithful, but at least be better, I hope.
Yeah.
You know there's a sequel to that movie?
What?
Called like Firestarter Rekindled, which was like a direct-to-DVD movie in like the, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. I'm going to check that out as well, just to see.
We're
not going to talk about that, but...
We might mention it if we both have time to check it out. We'll see about that.
Yeah, but anyway, that's the show. I can't believe we spent over an hour talking about the new Firestarter adaptation. But there's so much trash. So much fun stuff to pick apart and ruin. And I want to thank you so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. We're available everywhere.
Check out the socials.
And of course, once again, if you want that extra episode every week, And monthly commentary tracks. We're doing Dr. Mordred this month. Hey!
Yeah.
And a bunch of cool stuff. Check us out, patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Just $3 a month and you get the big package. There are other tiers, but I mean, that's the most valuable one. So, yeah. Until next week, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. The SpoilerCast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It is hosted by Tobias Vedén and Rebecca Vedén. Produced and directed by Tobias Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén and Laura Kinney. A huge shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Laura Kinney, Mom, and Dad.